Okay, we're live. Hey guys, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery for Hump Day Hangouts episode 18. This is March 4th, 2015, and we're going to have a really busy day today. We've got a lot of people RSVP'd for it. We've got some things we want to go over first, and something like an announcement, and then we've already got pretty much enough questions to probably take us through the whole hour. So it pays to post your questions early, as I've said many, many times. So those of you that have, thank you for that. I want to say what's up to Marco. Marco, thanks for being here to help out.
Hi, everybody.
And Chris is here. He's one of our other partners. He hasn't been making the Hump Day Hangouts very much, but he's here today. So what's up, Chris?
Hi, guys.
So you got a couple of our other team members here today. That's great. All right, well, without further ado, I want to talk about first a brief announcement. We've got the IFTTT SEO Network Building Service launched officially today. So I posted in the groups already, but I'm going to go ahead and put this on the events page as well, right at the top. I can see already some of you guys have asked questions on the event page about what would you charge. In fact, Brian asks, Brian Lichtig asks what we charge to do it. Well, now you'll know. You can go right over to the sales page and take a look at it. Guys, by the way, little housekeeping, put your questions directly on the event page, you know, as throughout the next hour, and we're cutting it off at 5 p.m. Eastern, so we got about 59 minutes to get through this, so I'll stop rambling and try to get through this very, very quickly. I'm going to take the screen and walk you guys through the new service. So here is the actual sales page. Let me pause this. All right, so the IFTTT SEO network building, essentially we've got the two different, you know, there's a single ring that you can purchase. There's actually 3 levels that you can purchase. A single ring, which includes the IFTTT properties plus the live stream sites. Okay, so it's roughly 22 properties because there's some that, you know, like for example, there's a couple properties every now and then that aren't working properly, so you know we're not committing to giving you 25 every time. It'll be as many as we can make work at the time that you order, but it'll be on average 22. That's how I just always assume that my networks with live stream sites are going to be 22 properties. Sometimes we get as many as 25, so it depends. But when you're dealing with that many properties, sometimes there's issues, and we try to, and it seems like we never get lower than 22, which is a good thing. So the basic IFTTT network is just one ring. It's a tier 1 ring that you can order, and you can order it either for branded network. If it's branded, you need to provide your own graphics, and I'm going to show you the sales page, and I mean the order form in just a moment. Then the tiered networks, there's 2 types to order for that. You can order just the tier 2 networks, which would be these, which by the way, guys, this graphic does not show the live stream sites, but they are included. That the graphic would just be way too crowded if we tried to do that. So it doesn't show the live stream sites, but they are included in each ring. Essentially, you're purchasing full rings with live stream sites. Whether you're purchasing one or you're purchasing multiple in a tiered structure or whatever, they're always going to be the same type of ring. Okay. So with the tier 2, if you're ordering just 2-tier only, and originally I wasn't even going to offer that, but since several of you in the Facebook group have asked about that specifically, where you already have your tier 1 networks built and you just wanted tier 2 networks, we decided we'd go ahead and include that also as an option. And lastly is a full two-tier network, right, which includes the tier 1 network plus 3 tier 2 networks, so a total of 4 rings. And so you can just take a look at the sales page here. If you click on the order form, it's going to take you over to Wufoo Forms, and then you got to fill out the form, put your name, email, tell us whether it's for branded or non-branded. Non-branded is a persona network, right? If it is for branded, there's a choose file. There's an upload file button here where you can upload a zip file with your graphics. Okay, because if you want a branded property network, then you're going to have to give us the graphics. We do not provide graphics. Okay, if it's a branded network, please provide your company bio here. Even if it's not a branded network, if you guys, you know, my VAs or our VAs, Semantic Mastery VAs, will create the bio for you based on your tags, which is the next question down here. Okay, they're going to create just a generic bio for the persona based on your input here. But for a branded network, you're going to want to write that yourself. So you need to provide that with us. Just keep it short. You know, I showed 250 characters max. You just want to keep it short, but we want you to provide that because we obviously don't know what your business or your brand is about. Okay. What will this network be used for? YouTube or blog syndication? Those are the two options. Okay, if it's used for, if you're using a YouTube channel for video syndication, then just post your YouTube channel URL here. Okay, it might have a branded URL, it may not, depending on how recently you set up the channel. Because remember, YouTube changed how you can get a custom URL. You have to wait like 30 days now and all that. So it doesn't matter. Just post your channel URL here. Okay, if not, just leave it blank. RSS feed URL for Tier Net 1 work only. We only need your Tier 1 network, or I'm sorry, your money site RSS feed only. If you're building this for a blog, okay, for blog syndication, we just need your money site RSS feed. We don't need any login details for your site, none of that. All right. If you're buying the tier 2 networks only, then we're going to need your Blogger, your Tumblr, and your WordPress RSS feed URLs. Remember, because if we go back to the graphic, we're going to be using your Blogger, your Tumblr, and your WordPress to feed your tier 2 networks, right? So just make sure that you give us your 3 RSS URLs for those blogs. We're going to need those. All right, and then select network type. You have a single IFTTT network, which is 1 ring, tier 1 only. Could be branded or non-branded. Doesn't matter. It's $55. 3 tier 2 networks, which is tier 2 only. It says right here, 3 rings, tier 2 only. You get a 10% discount on those. So if you order those, it's $148.50. And if you want the full 2-tier network, which is 4 rings, 1 T1 plus 3 tier 2, you get a 20% discount. It's $176. Pay attention down at the bottom where it says must read. And it says if you are ordering a YouTube syndication network after purchase, you will be redirected to a page, and I'm going to show you that page here in just a moment, where you will need to submit your YouTube channel login credentials. We need that, guys. In the training is the video that tells you how to create a page login only, right? Because we don't want access to your full Google account or any of your Google accounts for that matter. All we want access to is for the YouTube channel, period. Okay, so in the training, there's a video on how to do that. However, you can learn where to find this here. I put a link to a YouTube video right here that shows you how to do it. So before we get 800 support tickets saying, well, I don't know where to get that, it's right here. Okay? And if you have any questions or problems for this order specifically, it's going to go to networks@semanticmastery.com. Okay, and if you've already made a purchase and you have questions, please include your PayPal transaction ID. Again, guys, just read this stuff here. Okay, and then lastly, when you order, after you order, you're going to be redirected from PayPal to this page. I'm going to show it to you now. Okay, and this says, thanks for your order. If you purchased a YouTube network, please watch this video closely. This video right here is the same video that's in the link right here at the bottom of the order form. Okay, just in case you missed it here, after you purchase, it'll redirect you to this page and you can watch it here. So that's 2 locations now that I've pointed you to the place where you can get your page username and password. Okay, so just watch that. It's about 2.5 minutes long. I don't even know if it's that long, to be honest with you. Put your PayPal email in here, your Google Plus page username here, and your Google Plus page password here. Click send. It'll send it to us in an email. Okay. If you ordered an RSS network and keep moving, nothing to see here. Because in other words, if you've ordered just an RSS network, an RSS syndication network instead of a YouTube syndication network, you don't need to watch this. You can if you'd like, but you don't need it because we don't need that. You're not going to be sending us these details anyways. Okay? So there you have it. That is our IFTTT syndication network service that's live. Guys, remember, we just took on some new VAs so that we can start building these out for you guys. So if we do get a flood of orders this week, which we assume we will, then you're just going to have to be patient with us. We'll get them out as quickly as we possibly can, but we want them to be out to our specifications, which means they're done properly and they're ready for you guys to distribute content to them. So, you know, bear with us as we iron out some wrinkles, because I'm quite sure, just like everything, that there's going to be some issues that arise from, you know, a flood of people coming in. So just be patient with us. We'll get them to you. Trust me. It's worth the wait. I'm not saying it's going to take us 2 weeks to get them to you, but just give us, you know, be patient, because it'll be worth the wait. It'll prevent you from having to build them yourselves anyways, right? And as we streamline the process, we'll get more efficient with the getting the turnaround time out, you know, sooner. So, okay. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start with these questions. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and we've got a bunch of them already. So, I don't know. Is it Itay or Itay? I'm not real sure, and I don't take offense if I'm not pronouncing that properly, please. He says, my understanding now is I would use my money site to feed my IFTTT recipes via RSS feed. My main question is, can you elaborate a little on the overall site structure that allows you to target multiple cities within the state and multiple business niches within those cities? Also, after reviewing Hump Day 15, you go over some of the strategies, but I am still confused on how I would go about setting up the subpage or parent page and child themes you mentioned for silo structure. Please provide some insight. Okay, that is a rather involved question about setting up silo structure on a website, and I've got a video that I did, and it's been posted in the Facebook group, Itay, and I can grab the URL and post it again with the notes for this webinar. So when for the timestamps and everything on how to set up their simple and complex silo structure, and it goes into a lot more detail on how to do that. Okay. Let's see, within the state, multiple business niches within those cities. Yeah, I mean, you'd be building a massive site if you were going to do that. You could. What I would do if you were going to be building out a site where you're going to be targeting multiple business niches within the cities, then I would target it out. If let's see, is it going to be? If it's going to be just one state site, like it's not going to cover multiple states, then my silo structure, I would start with counties and then cities. So the top level silo would be counties, which would be the parent page. Okay, then you'd have subcategories, which would also be child pages, and you're going to have to use a complex silo structure for that. And again, I've got the video. I've posted it several times. I'll post it again. It talks about the difference between complex and simple silo structures. Okay, you're going to need to use a complex silo structure, which would be the parent page, which is your top level category. Then you're going to have a child page, which is also a subcategory, and then you're going to have posts. So you're going to be taking your URL 3 levels deep. All right, so you'll have your counties, then you'll have your cities, and then within your cities, you just have posts from different business niches. That's how I would do that. Okay. The other way that you could do it would be to just cover cities directly and skip the counties altogether, and then put as the subcategories, which would be the child pages, then you could put different business niches there, and that way you could have multiple posts per business niche. However, I'm not sure why you would do that unless you were off like building like a directory site. And if that's the case, then you could do that, and you could skip the counties altogether and go with your top level silo at the city level instead of the county level, if that makes sense. That would be a great question to ask inside the mastermind, by the way, because that's the type of stuff that we teach in the mastermind all the time. Is we go into a lot more detail for questions like that. Okay, how do we live stream a pre-recorded video to YouTube? Well, there's tools to do that. Wirecast is what I use for like a single upload, or a single stream, I should say. And Wirecast, as far as I know, it's still free to download. As far as I know, it's still free to download. And so just Google Wirecast, go find out if it's still free. If it is, download it, and then go to YouTube and type in how to stream pre-recorded videos using Wirecast. Okay, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube to show you how to do that. All right. I do have some training inside the mastermind for that as well. But there's also tools that you can use. I know like Anthony Hayes has one called Hangout Commando or YouTube Live Commando or something like that. I haven't used that personally, but there's another one that I use. It's called Hangout Millionaire. It's rather expensive, but it's a good tool, and you can stream live or pre-recorded videos to live events that way as well. It's an expensive tool, but it's a good one. It's called Hangout Millionaire. And then the other one, like I said, is Anthony Hayes tool. I haven't used it. When your money site RSS feed is feeding the Web2s and social signals, is it pulling out any and all content site-wide? Yes. I mean, you can, if you're just using your main site feed, yes, but there's also category feeds. If you have like a siloed out site with multiple categories and you want to feed a specific category's content to a network, and then have another network for another category, like for like authority type sites that have multiple categories and niches, if it's not themed all around one niche, and that's fine, you can go real broad with a website as long as you silo and categorize you put categories on your site that are theme specific. Right, and so you can use what's called a category feed. Again, go to Google or go to and type in how to create a category feed in WordPress, and you'll find how to do that. It's very simple to do. And then that way you can only syndicate content through that category feed from that category, if that makes sense. He says, also, I noticed on your site you have videos neatly organized under the business description, and on the home page you have the same video multiple times. I know exactly which site you're talking about, Itay, because you and I briefly chatted about that. That is what's called an infinite scroll WordPress theme, which means that it will reload. Once it runs out of content on the home page, it will reload content that you've already seen. I do not have multiple. There's no duplicate content on the site. There might be, the video might be similar, but the file type is slightly different. Trust me. And what you're seeing is the same videos reload every time you scroll, because it's an infinite scroll website, which means there's no ending. You can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it'll just keep reloading. Okay. So no duplicate content issues. How many G+ business profiles are we allowed? 50. You're allowed 50 channels and 50 pages underneath your main account. How to delete old ones if you needed to. If you needed to, you're going to go to settings and then go to delete. Here, I'll show you this, because this is a good. Let me just come in here and I'll show you. Go to pages. And for example, I use this one. This is the one I always use an example. So I'll go to manage pages, hover over the my business, go to settings. And you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you see where it says delete page. Click delete page. There you go. Done. Okay. Once you click delete page, it's going to take you to another page where it's going to say, are you sure? Just click all the check boxes and click delete page. All right. Let's see. I read somewhere that you will be providing networks for sale to the students soon. Is this true? Yeah, it is true. You just saw the presentation in the beginning of this. Please feel free to order your done-for-you networks from us. I think it will save you a ton of time. Do you have any previous video you can direct me to for in-depth keyword research? I do. Marco, are you taking timestamps? Marco?
But I will now.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind. Be making notes, because we're going to need to timestamp these and provide these links afterwards. Yeah, I did like a 25-minute video on local keyword research and stuff. Well, I used local keywords, but it'll work for anything. And I'll make sure that I post that link in when this is done. Itay, and with the timestamps for today. Okay. Last but not least, any insight on the process of listing multiple ads on Craigslist? No, I can't tell you anything about that. Honestly, I'm sorry. I've tried Craigslist stuff in the past, and it was a complete waste of time, in my opinion, because there's just like so many issues to deal with, and they'll like ghost your listings if they think that if they're coming from the same IPs and all that. And I even hired outsourcers and tried to train them how to do it properly, and it just was like a complete waste of time and money, in my opinion. Some of you might have good success with that. I would ask you to get with Itay on that then and tell him how you do it, because I just found it to be a huge time suck that produced very little return, if any. In fact, it was more like a loss. So sorry about that, buddy. I just don't use Craigslist. Scott Rogers, what is the suggested workflow to be sure you don't trigger IFTTT prematurely as you upload, build playlist, optimize descriptions, silo link the bids together? Or do you wait until the very end of the process to change every piece to public? Or do you deactivate the recipes until all done? Well, no, it doesn't matter. If you're using the recipes that we gave you in the training, then it doesn't matter, because you're not syndicating any. You're not using the description of the videos, right? So when if you're uploading a video to YouTube the traditional way, which would be an upload, right? Like I said, I live stream everything. I stream my videos into my channel for like 99% of the time. So I use live events, or mostly live events, or Google Hangouts on air. And in that case, then, like with Google Hangout, if you initiate a Google Hangout on air, you can't optimize it until after it's done. The only thing you can optimize is the title. If you do a YouTube live event, you can optimize the video before you broadcast, just like you could a regular YouTube upload, because it's the same screen. You get the tag, the title, description, the tags. You got advanced settings for geotagging and all that. But if you're doing just a regular old traditional upload, then remember, it doesn't actually publish until you click the done button. So even if like you're uploading the video and it uploads very, very quickly and it processes very quickly and all that, while you're editing it, it doesn't make a difference. And regardless, even if it did make a difference, remember our recipes that we give you do not publish the description. If you've modified the recipes to publish the description, then yes, you would want to wait to publish the video, which means don't click the done button until you've finished editing your description area. However, I don't recommend doing that. For video syndication networks, the only thing that we syndicate is the embed code, a link to the YouTube video itself, and a link to the channel. So the description doesn't matter. You can always go back and do that later. Okay? So that solves that problem. And remember, like I said, when you're uploading content, it does not actually publish to your channel until you click the done button. Okay? So just don't click the done button until you're done optimizing it. But if you're using the recipes that we give you, then it doesn't matter because it's not going to publish any of that anyways. The only thing that you need to worry about at that point is the title. If that makes sense. Okay? Because you can always change that stuff later too, right? John, Quackenbush, DC, he says, on the Serp Shaker build-out, I'm fearful to allow random videos in the Video SS tab by keywords because my niche, medical and personal injury, is so competitive that most of the videos are explainer videos that say why you should call them with their contact info at the end. Will the site be slapped because I want to have a static video? I don't know. Honestly, John, I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know 100% sure, so I don't want to tell you. What I would do is probably test. If you're doing Serp Shaker sites anyways, guys, I highly recommend that plugin. I think it's awesome. I've said that thousands of times. If you want to check out the sales page, it's semanticmastery.com/Serp Shaker, all one word, SERPSHAKER. As a matter of fact, Marco, if you don't mind, you can post that link again in the comments above. But what I would suggest, John, is that none of those sites are going to, I would never consider any of those sites as permanent sites anyways. They're test sites. They're short-term sites. That's the way I use them because there's a chance that at some point they're going to get slapped anyways because of just the nature of those sites. So what I would do is test. Test on a subdomain. So if you've got a particular domain that you want to use to build a Serp Shaker site, put a subdomain on it. Call it test if you'd like. Call it test.mydomain.com. and build the Serp Shaker site out with the static video and see how it performs. If it performs okay for a few months, a few weeks, whatever it is, until Google does decide to slap it, then you know that you'd be okay. That's what I would suggest doing. Okay, but again, I would never consider those as long-term sites. Some other people might have other experiences with that, but what I like to do with those is use those kind of sites to identify the low-hanging fruit, and then once I've identified the areas that I can rank for easily, then I go build a more permanent structure, which would be like a regular money site with unique content, siloed out properly, and then I also do the video SEO and the Web 2s from the IFTTT networks and end up just blanketing the first page for those terms. Okay. Okay. Let's see. The next one was Braulio, and he's got a bunch. Very detailed as well. Question. I have a kind of similar question to the one Itay posted about subdomains, but instead of cities, I want to go after industries. So imagine I have my main marketing company website, and I want to target several industries, such as medical, contractors, solar panels, etc. Would you recommend building subdomains to each, like psychology.marketingcompany.com, medlab or medlabs.marketingcompany.com, surgery.marketing? Okay. And then build themed IFTTT networks for each to rank videos? Yeah, sure. There'd be a problem if I have IFTTT networks built in different niches pointing to multiple subdomains. I'm not sure if I understand that part of the question. Let's see, build themed IFTTT networks for each to rank videos. Yeah, because remember, each one of those sites is literally a separate standalone site. It might have the parent domain, which is marketingcompany.com in this example, but every one of those sites is going to be a standalone WordPress site, right? So essentially, you could have a separate IFTTT network for each one of those. Now, think about what that's going to do for the overall domain authority of that domain. That's a great strategy, by the way, Braulio, because by having a parent domain and building your sites out on subdomains, then all of the link building activity from any one of those sites that are on subdomains is going to benefit the entire domain, and therefore benefit all of its subdomains. Does that make sense? And I've used this strategy for my local lead gen sites quite a bit, and it's very, very powerful because the more subdomains you add to the site, the more authority the overall domain receives, right, or builds, and then each time you add a subsequent subdomain, it's going to rank that much easier and that much quicker because it's benefiting from the authority of the domain and all of its subdomains, right? Subdomain authority works. So that's a great strategy. And when you have separate IFTTT networks for each one of those, you're just multiplying your, inbound signals, links, everything else, social signals, all of that. So yes, it's very, very powerful. And you'll see your domain authority will rise very quickly, okay? Would there be a problem if you have IFTTT networks built in different niches pointing to multiple subdomains? No, just as long as they're theme specific. In other words, if your IFTTT ring or network that you're pointing to that particular subdomain is along the same, it's with a consistent theme, then you'll be fine. I just wouldn't have like, let's see, solar pointing to psychology, if that makes sense. Just keep them separate. Is there a recommended max number of subdomains they should have on a single domain? Well, no, not that I know of, and there might be at some point some threshold, but I mean, I've got domains out there with 14 or 15 subdomains, and it performs, just kicks ass, okay, because it's done right. But think about the Chinese. Braulio's in the mastermind, so we've talked a lot recently about spam domains and Chinese closeout domains that haven't, that have a ton of domain authority, and a lot of those have like hundreds and sometimes even thousands of subdomains. Okay, so as far as I know, I've not reached a limit where it's been had a negative effect when you build them out properly, because they're just like standalone sites. Question 2, still related to question 1.
Hey Bradley.
Yes.
Just as an aside on that, the only limit that he'll have is the WordPress database, right?
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll fill it up and it'll start to cause problems. Other than that, there are really no issues.
Yeah. Well, you just go to a VPS then, or get a dedicated server if that's the case.
Right.
So yeah, that's not an issue. If you got such a big site that you filled up a shared hosting account, then at that point you should be making enough money. You go buy a VPS or a dedicated server or cloud hosting, something like that that's scalable. Question 2, still related to question 1. What would be the case of a subdomain structure in my main marketing company's website if my main marketing website is bilingual, and I want to lead gen videos for pitching clients, Could it look something like the following? Psychology and psychology in subfolders, possibly. Braulio, again, this question specifically, Braulio, is better suited for Mastermind than it is for Hump Day Hangouts, and you're in the Mastermind, buddy. So I'm gonna pass on that one right now. Although if you want to put them in subfolders, that's fine. But remember, now you're gonna have another separate install. Essentially, you could have psychology.marketingcompany.com in the English, the EN subfolder, and then you could have the other one in the. I'm assuming it's Portuguese. But then especially if you're talking about multiple subdomains and then having bilingual 2 languages for each subdomain, right? So 2 versions of the site. You're talking about a management nightmare. If you can pull it off, by all means. But you're in for a hell of a fight, because that's going to be a lot to manage. Let me know how that goes, and we can address this in more in depth in the next mastermind. BJ, hey BJ, I think BJ just recently joined the mastermind, which is awesome because he's been following us for several months now, and so welcome BJ. We're really glad that you joined us for the mastermind. Questions about the pre-built IFTTT networks that will be offered inside the academy. How many full networks or rings do you suggest if I want to use these for double 301 redirect model? Okay, we can't talk about the double 301 redirect model here, guys. That is mastermind material only. I'm sorry, but that's like secret squirrel stuff that we really cannot share with the public. It's got to be kept in the private mastermind community. So, BJ, you're in the mastermind. We will be glad to address that inside the mastermind. We have been talking a ton about that for like the last 3 mastermind webinars, and in fact, I did another update video last night and posted it in the community about 301 redirects and some of the stuff that we do with that. So feel free to watch that and then repost your question in there, and we will get to that specifically for you. Okay. Scott says, if in building a brand, for example, wedding gifts, should the persona accounts be wedding planner person, wedding ideas person, dressmaker person, or just a bunch of 25-year-old ladies? This is still a little confusing. For the personas, in that particular case about wedding gifts, you could have, like, for example, the persona could be like a party planner, could be, just a party planner. That's general enough, right? And actually just having female personas at that point would be okay, because that's a niche that would allow for it to be very general in nature. It makes sense for a female to be interested in wedding stuff. And I'm not trying to sound sexist, anybody, but what I'm saying is, I mean, that would make sense at some point, right? So that's one of those niches, or one of those the situations where it would be okay to go more general. In fact, if you went just with like some female profiles for that, then you could possibly use those same networks for other things other than just wedding stuff, right? I mean, think about it. You could go after more feminine type markets, or you know what I'm saying, like. You don't have to be so specific. The only time that I get really, really tight on my theme is on the tier 1 network, right? That's it. Tier 1 network is it. Once you get out to tier 2, you can go more general. Or you can always go more broad on tier 2. Does that make sense? Your branded network should be very tightly themed to whatever the site is that you're syndicating your content from, or your YouTube channel, right? So, like, for example, if you're doing, and I know Craig Smith, he asked a question that I'm going to get to, which will kind of clear this up a little bit too, Scott. As soon as I get to, I got to do these questions in order. But Scott, Craig asked a question that, about how to theme YouTube channels and stuff if you're going to be targeting. And it just trust me, Scott. I'll get to that in a minute. It'll clear it up. But as far as your tightly themed network should only be the one around your money site, whether it's a money site or a money channel. Okay, everything else from tier 2 out can be more general or more broad. All right, I hope that makes sense. And in this case, like I said, that you could probably just get away with just using like generally themed female personas, and it would probably suffice. Braulio with question number 3. If you're having a conversation with a potential client and pitching your SEO video services to rank on first page of Google, what would your argument be if he tells you that he's already on the top of first page paying for AdWords? The answer I got from other SEOs was that some people, and I do that, totally ignore those ads, okay, and just jump straight to the organic results, meaning only a residual percentage of people actually click on the ads. But how would you explain that to a client that doesn't know much about technology? Go find some of the studies that have been done online with like heat map tracking and that sort of thing that show the percentages of how many people click on ads of the general population and how many people click on organic results, because I am totally blind to ads as well. I never, ever click on ads when I'm doing a search, right? And the majority of people, I don't have the exact figure, guys. I'm going to make a statistic up right now, okay? So don't quote me on this. But it's something like 60 or 70% of people don't click on ads at all. Like, they always go to the organic results. And why? Because people assume that you have to earn your way to the top of organic results. And they know that the ads are just people paying to be there, right? And there are plenty of studies online by, like Nielsen and like some of the big data companies that will that you can find and point potential customer prospects to those to those presentations or those reports that show the statistics. Okay, I don't have anything to offhand, and I personally, like I said, I just made that statistic up, but I know that it's the majority of people do not click on ads. Plus, I would also tell them that why not have a strategy of both, right? I mean, if you got somebody that's already investing in AdWords, then don't tell them they don't have to invest in AdWords anymore. Just tell them that they can also invest in SEO and they can get the best of both worlds. Does that make sense? I don't tell people not to invest in AdWords if they're already investing in AdWords. I just tell them that you're still leaving traffic on the table, right? And I can drive some of that traffic to your business. Okay. If the client has nothing ranked on the first page, I'm sure he will easily understand that the moment he stops paying for the ads, the result will instantly disappear. Yeah, that's another argument that you could say. But I'd like to hear your take on that, Bradley, and what would you say to convince him? I just said that. So, I mean, exactly what I would say is I'd say, look, if you're paying, that's great. Don't stop paying. In fact, it's going to take me a little bit of time. I always try to get a little bit of leeway out of them anyways and say, it'll take me a little bit of time to get something ranked for you. But then you'll see that you'll get additional calls, you'll get additional traffic, whatever. And that way you have the best of both worlds. And if the organic starts producing well, then you can actually kind of redirect some of the funds from paying, for ads to more organic growth. Okay. Excuse me. Michelle says, I have a money site with associated YouTube channel. My understanding is that the tier 2 rings feed must be fed by the blog RSS should be themed, and have 3 other good high publishing feed recipes in place to avoid penalties. For YouTube channel syndication linked to the blog, should I funnel recipes to the themed sites as well, or should that feed go to a separate persona tier 2 ring? Not quite sure I'm following that, Michelle. If you're doing video syndication networks alone, then you don't need to worry about blending other content feeds in there, because you're just publishing Google's content. That's fine. It will not be an issue. If you're syndicating content from your blog using the RSS recipe, then that's when you need to have the other themed or related content feeds. You need to blend those, right? Spliced feeds. If you've got a YouTube channel and an associated website or a companion website, right? So that you've got like you've got your money site and your money site channel, and they're companions, right? Then what I would do is have a video syndication network specific for the YouTube channel, which would all be persona based, and I would put my branded network around my money channel, my money website, right? Your blog itself, and then it's going to have its own network. If you take it out to tier 2, then from the out at tier 2 is where you're going to want to blend in other content. So let's just bring this graphic up right here. If we're looking at this right here, and I've got the YouTube icon here, guys, because just this could be YouTube or it could be your website. It doesn't matter, all right? But if this is your website here in the middle and you're syndicating content to your branded network, which you should, again, if you've got a YouTube channel and a companion website and they're both of the same brand, then I would put your branded IFTTT network around your website to benefit your domain more. Does that make sense? And I would just put persona-based networks around the YouTube channel. Okay? But then you would still want to blend content from your website network to your tier 2 properties, right? You'd still want to use blended feeds or multiple feeds. Does that make sense? So that you're not leaving a footprint always pointing back, which is your content. These networks should be populated with other content, is my point. But your YouTube network, it doesn't matter, right? So just keep 2 separate networks is my point. Okay? And like I've mentioned that before, that'll give you a lot of juice, because you're essentially getting, remember, you're going to take your video and publish it to the channel first, and then it's going to syndicate across the channel networks, right? Then you're going to take the embed code and go create a blog post on your blog, and it has its own networks. So essentially, you're going to get that video published twice and syndicated across 2 networks, right? So you're getting like twice the syndication out of it, twice the backlinks and/or embeds. So it's a very, very powerful strategy, guys. Gary says, how's it, Bradley Benner? Here are my 3 questions. Is paying for dripped social signals per month to money or PBN web pages worth it in terms of helping rankings and helping to boost a site's metrics like Trustful? Yes, it is, Gary. It's very important. You guys should be doing that. Building links to your PBN sites, also to your IFTTT networks. Like, try to build links to those. And we talk about that a lot. Syndwire, FCS Networker, those are 2 really good tools for doing that. But it will absolutely, and social signals included, Gary, yes, you should absolutely. PBNs especially, guys, because PBNs that aren't collecting new links and have no social signals and are not building new links and new inbound social signals are very easily detected, right? And those links, they become less valuable over time from PBNs, okay? And they lose their trust flow too, by the way. Would using software like Syndwire or SocialSyn be better for helping to keep link juice flowing to a PBN site or IFTTT sites? Both, Gary. Both. If you have a PBN site that has poor metrics, then build some links and some social signals to your PBN site first. Make sure it's themed properly. I don't use PBNs to link directly to my money site anymore unless they're highly, highly themed and they have a very strong link profile, like a very clean link profile is what I should say. Otherwise, I still have a ton of PBNs, but I use those as supplemental links to my IFTTT networks, right? So they're like tier 2 links only. Okay, if you've got a really clean PBN, then yeah, you can link to your money site. Or if it's highly themed, it's got good trust metrics, then you can link directly to your money site. Otherwise, I would suggest not doing that, because even if you can get away with it now, you probably won't very near future. You know, I don't work for Google, so I don't know when, but they're cracking down, guys. They always have been. They always will be. So. And what color is the dress? Not sure, but I think that's a smart-ass comment, and it's funny. What color is the dress? Okay. Mandy says, unable to make it to the meeting. Unfortunately, question though, I have URL issues being created by a third-party plugin that is central to my operations. The issue is duplication of the keyword in the URL. It goes like this: domain.com/keyword/keyword/page title. The WordPress installation is on domain.com/keyword. Okay. The plugin is creating the structure on my WordPress installation. So the WordPress installation is on a subfolder of the domain with the keyword as the folder name. I get it. I get that. My concern is that Google and other search engines penalizing for keyword duplication in the URL. Yes, I totally agree. How serious is this? Can I ever rank pages with duplicate keywords in the URL? Looks artificial to me. Yeah, one of the first things that I did when Panda 4 hit was I saw some sites that had dropped because I had the keyword in the category level, and then down at the page level or the post level, depending on whether I was using complex or simple silo structure, right? Depends on how many levels there are to the URL structure, and I would have the keyword duplicated twice in the URL, and I saw several of my sites take a loss, right? They drop 15, 20 spots, and for multiple keywords. And one of the only things that I had to do was go back and de-optimize those URLs to where the URLs do not contain the keywords other than perhaps one time, right? And my sites came back. And so I always talk about this in here, guys. This is important. This is a great question, by the way, Mandy. And I'm going to give you what I would say is the solution, and you're probably not going to like it, but I'm going to tell you what I would do. Okay, so let's say that you have domain.com/keyword/keyword post title, right? Let's see, post title. All right, so what I would do in this situation is, and I used to do this, right? Because this is what we used to do in SEO, right? We'd have the keyword as like the category, and we were in the parent page, and then we would have our support. And this is a simple silo structure you're looking at here, guys. If it was a complex silo structure, it'd be one level deeper, right? But let's just stick with this for now. So let's say that we had a keyword in as the page and the category, right? And then, so this would be the top of our silo, and then these would be considered supporting posts, right? So supporting articles, in this case, it'd be a post. Then the keyword would be in the title. That's just the way we used to do things. But what I found is that the most important, the four things that Google looks at right up first, I mean, before they analyze, it crawls your site and analyzes all the data. These are the four things, and I'm going to put them in order of priority. SEO title, okay? 2 is going to be your page title, which is your H1, okay? Number 3 is going to be, oh, I'm sorry, that's number 3 actually, URL, and this will be number 3, which is your page title, and then the last one is going to be meta description. I know people say that meta description doesn't matter anymore, and I beg to differ. And this is what I found, okay, guys? If you guys have different information, that's fine, but I'm telling you what works for me. Meta description. All right, so these are the most important things in order of priority. So I only ever allow the keyword, the exact match keyword, in one location for all 4 of these. So at any given time on a page or a post, the exact match keyword is only present in one of these locations, and I typically always choose the SEO title. So where is the SEO title? That's essentially the meta title, right? That's what shows up in the search results when your page ranks, and that's what you can designate using an SEO plugin like Yoast or Ultimate SEO or All-in-One SEO. There's a number of them that do it. A lot of themes have that now, where you can set the meta descriptions. Essentially, that's the SEO title. So I have found the best effect to have the exact match keyword in the SEO title, but the URL, I de-optimize that. I bring the URL down to as short and succinct an URL as possible and remove the keyword. Then for the page title, which is the H1, okay, then I use an LSI or a co-occurring keyword, right, a synonym, a related type keyword, and I typically make the page title conversational in nature, where the SEO title is short, and it's like especially for local stuff like plumber Fairfax VA, right? Nobody talks that way, but it does still work for SEO, especially for the SEO title. So for the page title, I might say, hire a master plumber to take care of your Fairfax your Fairfax, Virginia homes needs, or something like that, right? It's a conversational type title, right? And the exact match would not be in there. It might be a variation of it, or they wouldn't be, it would just be some sort of variation or long tail or LSI synonym. And lastly, your meta description, same thing. I don't even put the exact match keyword in meta description. I use another version or another variation, another co-occurring keyword. Okay. So when if you've got an issue like this, what I would do in this situation, if it's causing you problems, and if it's not yet, it probably will soon at some point. But if it's causing you problems, why not clone your site? And again, if you've got thousands of pages, I know this is not going to be something you're going to want to hear. And since I don't know the details of your deal, Mandy, I would suggest possibly reinstalling the WordPress site in another, either in the root itself or on a subdomain where you could lose this folder. Does that make sense? And then that way your keyword only appears one time. Because as it stands from what I can read from your description right here is that you've got WordPress installed in the folder, the keyword folder, which is a subfolder of your domain. So I would reinstall your WordPress site, clone it, and reinstall it on a subdomain or another folder that's not optimized, right? And then I would 301 redirect inbound links from page to page, from the old site, the old URL to the new URL. But that way, moving forward, everything wouldn't be over optimized. Okay. Okay. Can you ever rank pages with duplicate keywords in URL? Yeah, but you can, but for how long? I don't know. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen sites take a beating, and all I did was de-optimize the URL, and I've seen them come back. So I know that that's what I do going forward, like I said. So, all right, let's see. We got about 14 minutes, and I know we still got a lot of questions left, so I'm going to try to roll through the next. Geez, we're not only like a third of the page up. Braulio, could you please show, if you have, an example of an IFTTT network themed around an industry, national type network, and geographically based network, highlighting the differences between them? Yeah, I don't have any examples to pull to show, Braulio. Again, you're in the mastermind. We can talk about that a little bit more in the mastermind. So yeah, I'm going to reserve that for that, Braulio, because there's still a ton of other questions. And besides, I don't know that I want to share personal networks with with the public. The mastermind's a bit of a different story, but this is a public webinar. So, question 5: so Braulio, just copy the question and repost it in the mastermind, and we'll talk about that. All right. When one of your clients' video loses rank and goes away from the SERPs, what do you typically do next to get it back, besides using Syndwire or FCS Networker? Well, I do that, but if I have to, I'll live stream a new site, guys. Or a new video, guys. Sometimes videos, just from age, they will start to drop in rank, and like there's a freshness factor for some keywords, others not necessarily. And so sometimes if a video loses rank, then I'll just go back and live stream it or stream it again to my network. And when you're doing a live stream, you don't got to really worry about duplicate content issues, right? Because it's a live stream, so each file is unique, right? It's just if you're doing an upload. The other thing that you can do, as I mentioned this before, is that you can actually build, like with the playlist silos that we talked about with YouTube Silo Academy. That's a Q. Mark, going to drop the link in the top of the chat again. YouTube.silo.academy. Using playlists, you can usually get it back up if you make the video that lost the rank the top of the playlist, so the top of the silo, right? And then you build supporting article keywords, right? So you just remember, you're just building a silo using a playlist, and you just use that video that's lost at rank as the top of the silo, and you build supporting article videos that are interlinked back up to that video, right? Because each time you syndicate a video across your, you distribute, you publish, you upload a video to your YouTube channel, it's going to go out across the network, and it's going to collect all those signals, those backlinks and/or embeds, correct? So, and if all that juice is funneling back to that video, the video that you just now syndicated, and there's a link in the description that goes up to the video that lost the rankings, then what are you doing? Especially if you've got a silo structure in place and you do that with, let's say you've got 6 supporting keywords. Okay, now you've got 6 well-themed keywords, related keywords, long tail, that are going to link back up to the video that's the top of the silo, the one that lost the rankings, right? and now you've just distributed that across your network with however many properties you have in your network. Each one of those videos collected that many signals multiplied by how many videos, right? So if you do 6 videos and you've got 88 properties, right? Then that would be what, 6 times 8, all that juice funneling back through the playlist up to that one video. So I hope that makes sense. You can get them back using silos, is my point. Playlist silos. Okay. Question from Charlie Banks. In your video on Serp Shaker, you mentioned renting out videos in different markets. Can you share more about what you would do with those videos when you rent them out? Do you just edit the description in the video, or do you remake the video and then add their info to it? No, what I do, if I'm planning on renting videos out that are my videos, Charlie, then I put tracking phone numbers on them before I, if the phone number is going to be part of the video. Otherwise, you can just use annotations within YouTube, because then you can change them anytime you want, and the stuff in the description like you mentioned. But if you're going to make a phone number part of the video itself, then I would suggest using your own tracking phone numbers, your virtual phone numbers, right? Callfire, Twilio, Vumber, Phone.com. There's a number of them that you could use to purchase phone numbers that you can redirect or forward to wherever you want. So at that point, if you're going to make the phone number part of the video, then I would suggest doing that. Now, if you want to make a URL part of the video, then make a companion website to your channel, right? And then put a redirect plugin on there. I use all-in-one redirect, but you could use like PrettyLink is another one, where you can make redirect links from a URL within your WordPress site that you can point to anywhere you want. So, for example, if you're doing a plumber, let's just say a plumber video, okay? Let's say you're doing a plumber video and it's on, and you haven't rented it yet, but you want to rank it before you contact plumbers. Let's say you have domain.com as your domain. You put a redirect plugin on your domain, like PrettyLink, for example. It's free. PrettyLink Lite, L-I-T-E. You can download that for free, and you can create 301 redirect links from within WordPress. Okay? So you could have like domain.com/Dallas Plumber. That could be the URL that you display in your video. And then whenever you find somebody to rent that video from you, you can redirect that URL to them. And if they decide to stop paying you, you just remove the redirect until you find somebody else, and then you redirect that same URL to the next person. That way, you're always keeping control. And the same thing with the phone number. Okay, I wouldn't go out and change it and brand it for them. I don't brand other people's videos unless, like for renting them out. I only use branded videos as if it's their videos that I'm ranking, right? I still rank them on my channel, but if it's their own video that they've already had produced. Okay, if I'm doing a renting strategy or leasing strategy, then I'll use my own phone numbers and my own URL. Plus any information on the David Sprague video templates. If you're talking about rep videos, yeah, they're good videos. A lot of you probably know about David Sprague's review commercials, rep videos, he calls them. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. You can rank those. No question, you can rank them. If you're using the networks the way we teach. Jason says, can you explain a double 301 and its greatness? Yeah, inside the mastermind, Jason. I'd love to. Come join us in the mastermind, buddy. I'd be happy to explain it there. As a matter of fact, there's like the last 3 webinars, that's pretty much all we've talked about. So, how would you use GSA and FCS Networker properly with our amazing setup? We talked about that a lot yesterday with the Syndwire webinar, and I think you were on that. But essentially, I use FCS Networker to build in Syndwire both, but mainly FCS Networker. I like Syndwire to use personally myself because it's easy to use. There's really like no learning curve at all. FCS Networker is a much better tool in my opinion. It has a lot more versatility. It's a lot more powerful, but it also has a bigger learning curve. So I have a tool manager that does that for me. If I had to only purchase, if all I could purchase was one spam tool, I would probably go with FCS Networker over anything else. The reason I say that is because FCS Networker uses Web 2 sites, which are by nature higher domain authority sites, so they're more trusted, in quotes, sites. Okay, so I would suggest going with FCS Networker over GSA, because unless you're really skilled with GSA, you're gonna blow yourself up. You'll get yourself in trouble with GSA. It's a penalty waiting to happen unless you're skilled. Listen, by no means do I have anything bad to say about GSA. We use the hell out of GSA. In fact, I've got 3 dedicated servers. I got 2 that run GSA specifically and 1 that scrapes link targets. So I spend a lot of money, about $1,600 a month on running GSA, so it's a powerful tool, but you've got to know where to use it. So with our network setups, Jason, I would build supplemental or tier 2 links with FCS Networker or Syndwire, right? Because they're Web 2s. And then if you want to use GSA, you build. I always use GSA at tier 3 and beyond. That way, there's at least 2 steps of a Web 2 or 2 buffers, 2 hops of buffer sites between GSA and my money site. That makes sense. Okay, because Google, as of it's been dubbed the Skyfall update, Google is looking 2 levels out, right? It's looking 2 levels out. So I do not recommend using, unless you're really, if you're skilled with the tool, then just ignore what I said. But if you're not really skilled with the tool, which most people aren't, including myself, I don't use the tool myself. My tool manager runs it for me, and he's very skilled with it. But we build links at tier 3 and beyond with GSA. It's a pure spam tool. Okay, FCS Network is a spam tool too, but it is a spam tool that uses Web 2.0 sites, which are higher domain authority, which means, again, in quotes, they're more trusted, right? Can we do an IFTTT SEO meetup soon? Yeah, we could. Like a live event, maybe sometime. Clifton, this was great, dude. I responded. You got this image here. That's great. If somebody wants to ask, this is how you ask a question, guys, with a diagram. This is great. He's asking which one is correct, and by looking at this diagram, without having more information, I would say that the bottom one here is better, just because up here you're using the keyword used tires. Let's just assume that you were going after used tire market. And when I talk about setting up for IFTTT networks, guys, I always recommend not using the keyword as the username, going with the persona's name as the username for all the sites, because I found that using the keyword, the accounts end up getting terminated because they look spammy, right? Doesn't matter what the username is of the site, guys, or if it's in the sub, like usetires.wordpress.com. Instead, I'd rather go with peteyoutube.wordpress.com, because that's a lot, or petejohnson.wordpress.com, right? Because that's a lot less spammy looking. And remember, you can theme the site itself any way you want. If all the content on the site is about tires and let's just say car stuff in general, then Google is going to know what that site is about. It doesn't need to be in the username. Okay? If you're building a branded network, then yes, use the brand as the username, right? So joesplumbing.wordpress.com. That's perfectly fine. But doing fairfaxplumber.wordpress.com is not is as advisable as doing joejohnson.wordpress.com. Okay, and then the site can still be themed. So, and with just that limited information, I would go with the bottom one. All right, I knew I wanted to get to Craig's question, and boy, you lucked out, Craig, because we're just about out of time. For those of you that joined later and asked questions that I didn't get to, I apologize for that. But guys, this is a perfect opportunity for me to pitch to you that you should be posting your questions ahead of time on the events page, and this is why. Because as we continue to grow, this time is going to become more and more limited. So those of you that post your questions early will get them answered. Otherwise, I'd love to answer the rest of them, guys. If you need to get your questions answered, come join us in the mastermind or the master class. IFTTT SEO masterclass starts next Wednesday, and you guys can we'll have an hour immediately following Hump Day Hangouts. So from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. we're going to do an hour every single week at the master class, and that's only $37 a month. And you guys will have more access to me, although it's going to be formal training for 45 minutes and only 15 minutes of questions, just so you know, okay? Which, by the way, that's Marco, another Q, IFTTTSEO.com. I'm sorry. IFTTTSEO.com/masterclass, all one word. If you guys want to take a look at that, that starts next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Craig says, I plan on starting video SEO type service targeting different construction trades. I'm going to start by getting a few videos promoting my own business ranked first. Great strategy, Craig. So I can use these as live examples. Question, would you recommend creating one YouTube channel for all trades or one channel per trade? In your specific case, Craig, I would do one channel. And here's why. Because you can use playlists to silo your channel, right? You should have YouTube Silo Academy. If you don't, then pick it up. I think you were one of the people that completed the survey, so you should already have it. Anyways, you can use YouTube playlists to create silos within your channel. So you can make your channel an authority channel built around construction trades. And then you have different playlists that, like, you could have a plumbing playlist, a roofing playlist, a landscaping playlist, HVAC, whatever. You could have playlists for each one, and then you could even also do geographic playlists if you wanted to, which kind of answers a little bit of what Braulio was asking about. If you were going to go more than, like, target more than one city, you could also do, like, geographic playlists and say, like, and again, I'll use Virginia as an example, but 2 counties in Virginia would be like Fairfax County and Prince William County. So you could have playlists that way too. You could have the same video in multiple playlists, by the way. So let's say you had a plumber that you were going to promote, and you have them in a plumbing playlist that's very specific to plumbing, and every video in that plumbing playlist is about plumbing. It could be from different areas. It doesn't matter, because the central theme there is the plumbing, right?
Hey, Bradley.
You can also take that same video and put it in a geographic specific playlist that the common theme of all the videos in that playlist is the geographic location. And now you have 2 playlists that are highly themed, that are target, you know what I'm saying? And those are each points in which you can build additional links to. And you can juice every single video within that playlist. So in this particular instance, I would absolutely go with one channel, because then you can make it an authority channel. And what happens with authority channels, every time you upload another video, it's going to add to the authority, and it's going to make it rank better and faster and easier to rank subsequent videos, right? 5 o'clock on the money, guys. We've got to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it. Time's up.
Yeah, time is up. So apologize for those of you that did not get a chance to get your questions answered. Save them. When I post the event for next week, you guys can post your questions to the page for that. I should have that. I try to get the event page posted usually by Friday. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but you all should be notified of when the next event is scheduled. I mean, you know what time it's going to be. It's going to be next week at 4 p.m. But when the next event page is up, just post your questions in there. First come, first serve, guys. So, again, guys, check out the IFTTT Done For You Networks, please. I know a lot of you. I think we had like 24 people raise their hand in Facebook that said you guys were, interested. Order them, because they're to our specifications. They're going to help you, save you a ton of time. And they'll be like pretty much right out of the box. So appreciate you guys being here. Hey, Marco, thanks, man. I didn't give you a chance to say anything today. I'm sorry.
No, I've been busy typing anyway.
Okay. And Chris was here just as moral support, apparently. But Chris, thanks for being here, buddy.
No worries.
All right, guys. We'll see you all next week. And post your additional questions in the Facebook group and things like that, guys. We got the free community for those of you that are not members of the IFTTT SEO Academy yet, or Mastermind members yet. Remember, Masterclass starts next week, which will be more formal training about like how to monetize these networks and create a real business out of these IFTTT SEO networks. And then also we have the Google Plus community that's for free members, and also the Facebook community. If in the description on this event page, you can find links to either of those. If you haven't joined those yet and you have additional questions, those would be the places to post them. All right. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.